Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grease podcast with your hosts, Trudeau and D.
Welcome back. Another week, another podcast episode. It's your boy Trudeau, and with me, as always, the co-host, the man of the hour, D Frizzy Frizz himself.
What to do, baby man? How is your weekend?
Busy Busy. I went to a baseball game actually on Sunday. Yeah, I went to
Socks or paw socks. I know they're not Woo socks. I think they're called
the
now.
Woo Sox. I don't like that. I don't know what especially the Woos. I have no idea. No, Red Sox. First game of the season. I tell you what, it was a crazy game. They obviously changed the rules in baseball, speed up the pace of play, and I feel like I got ripped off.
So I've heard this a lot from people that like
Let
it's
me-
great. Oh, go ahead.
Why? Like, no, you can get to your point because you're gonna make a great point. The game I went to on Sunday was the fastest game at Fenway Park since 1988. It was an hour and 57 minutes long.
Damn. How do you even enjoy that?
Bruh, like usually like during innings at baseball games, they last 30 minutes. You can grab 3 beers, like shoot the shit. You look back and one pitch was thrown. I could not get out of my seat to like get a beer, go to the bathroom. It was so fast. It's a good product though. It was a fun time. I will say that.
So that's what I've heard. Mixed reviews with like people that are again like the non-traditionalist are like, this is great, this is amazing. Like I can actually pay attention to the game because it's done and over with in an hour and a half, 2 hours, like you were saying. And then like I started thinking about like the fans that are actually going to the game. Part of like baseball is the experience. Like I won't lie to you, I can't stand watching baseball. Not my favorite sport. But I enjoyed going to Fenway because of like just the atmosphere of being there. It was fun. You know, you get out your seat, like you were saying, you go grab a Frank, you get a couple beers, you get the standing room only. Like you don't necessarily need to sit. You watch a few pitches, maybe, and then like you go grab another beer. But like a lot of people, at least from what I've seen on the Twitter sphere, is like people pissed because they're like, yo, like I'm still paying the same price to get, half the time that I'm supposed to be at the stadium before y'all kick us out.
Well, funny thing, I don't believe the and MLB franchises realize this would happen to them is they are having like really reduced
Concessions.
yeah, and they actually I think it was Milwaukee. They love their beer in Milwaukee, and usually they stop serving in the 7th inning because they don't want people driving home drunk. They were taking too much of a financial hit. They extended that bad boy out to like the beginning of the 9th inning.
So I wonder if that is just the Brewers did that, or is that like across the league?
I'm sure if you can make more money, they'll find a way. I'm sure it will spread around.
I didn't know if that was like a MLB rule that like, when Tessie and when whatever they play at Fenway comes on in the 7th inning.
Caroline?
Yeah, Sweet Caroline. Like they're like, you know what? No more alcohol because you're a bunch of drunks. But like if this is like across the board where they're like, yo, no, these games are going by a little bit too fast. Let's keep them open until the 9th inning's done. I didn't know about that, but that's hilarious.
You sing Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline. Can I sing it? Is that what you just said?
When you at the Sox game, do you sing it? Are you
Depends on how many beers I've drank by then. If it's like if I went there like for like a work event and it was just what's that?
What's the number? Over under how many beers?
It's got to be at least like 9.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. It's not it's like right around that. If not 9, then it's like I know when we went to the standing room only, they had like a mixed drink stand. And it's like 4, vodka cranberries or vodka lemonades, and you're just like, all right, we're singing any and everything that comes on the jumbotron.
You must have spent like $100 by the way for 9 beers. That's insane.
Well, that's the thing is you go to Fenway, it's more so for the experience. Like I didn't go there very often. It was a lot more for just like you go there with like a group. Like I don't remember the last time like me and Al went, just me and her. I don't think we ever did, but like when we went, it was like rolling 10, 15 people deep. So like it was fun. Or at least you try to make it fun.
Yeah, and I think the hip hop has mentioned that the TV revenue is probably down too because the games don't last as long. I will say though, it's more enjoyable to watch, even though they're probably kicking themselves in the ass now financially. Last thing, I don't know how we got into 5 minutes of baseball talk.
You talked about what you did over the weekend.
Yeah. So are you team sausage or hot dog when you go to the ballpark?
Ooh, I'm team sausage.
Man,
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. If I walk outside, they better have. They'll walk outside. They better have that street meat ready to go because hey man, is that the last one? Give it here. I don't care if it was sitting there for 10, 15, 20 minutes. People
So
breathe
good.
all that. Just give me
Especially after D goes apparently 10 bears deep. You know what I mean? You're a madman.
You're seeing 3 of them, so it's essentially like you're counting all your calories with one sausage right there. No pause.
I have to ask you before we move on. How was your weekend? I need to return the favor.
Weekend was actually busy as shit. A lot of stuff, a lot of prep for the little one's birthday. We also took family photos, so that was fun. Be prepared to have those on the internet in a couple of days, because we'll see. The youngest is ready for the camera, ready to smile and whatnot, put her hands up. She's a little princess. And then the youngest is just like, I don't want to be here. Why are we doing this? Like, I want to run around. So
I'm sure they came out great though.
let's hope. Let's hope that they did.
Yeah, we got a good show for you today. This will probably be the last baseball talk we have for the whole season. Just kidding, maybe, who knows? But it was about food, so it's always a popular topic. But yeah, lots of NBA stuff. I think mostly NBA. We're going to cover a little bit of the play-ins, touch on that because we did not get to that. It was in between shows. And then we're going to overreact because what's better in sports media? I mean, I wouldn't consider myself sports media, but everyone likes to overreact. One game, the world's ending. So we're going to have a panic meter section where we kind of look at the teams who have one loss that should not have one loss, the favorites, and where their panic level should be. Maybe NFL at the end. We'll see how far we get. But D, before we move on to an actual segment, you got to get us started, right, my man?
Happy fucking Monday.
All right, I don't want to spend too much time on the play-ins because I feel those feel like ages ago at this point. Yeah. But really rat-a-tat-tat, a couple of the play-in stuff. Heat Hawks, man, last week I was on this podcast and I told you, I don't know about this Heat. Everyone is afraid of them, shaking their boots for the big bad Miami Heat. I kind of felt like the Hawks were going to win. Pretty handily took care of the Heat at home. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to talk about that. Hawks, oddly enough, the two teams in that series were the two teams that advanced to the playoffs. So like it was good to see Trey do his thing. It was good to see they both advanced. So I guess for both series that were on the Tuesday docket. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, both the Lakers and the T-Wolves. Again, not to spend too much time about it, but I think the Lakers needed to win more than the T-Wolves did. It would have been a little bit more on the older bodies of the Lakers if they would have had to play another play-in to then play another, one seed, that being the Nuggets. And I think for where they landed, I think they match up better against the Grizzlies than they do against the Nuggets, honestly.
Yeah. And then just as like far as just wrap up the Heat Hawks. I know the Hawks got the 7 seed. I still think the Heat is the more dangerous of the two teams. I mean, the Hawks have looked pedestrian against the Celtics. That might be the Celtics are just the world beaters.
I was going to say the Celtics just are that much better than the Hawks, in all honesty.
But yeah, Hawks look sad. And then Bulls Toronto. I was saying earlier before the show, man, if Toronto had won that game and had to play the Heat in the play-in, we would have saw the first NBA game finish 45-47. Both of those teams cannot score, cannot get a bucket. Bulls advance against Toronto. Wasn't really a great game. You had the DeRozan's daughter moment yelling. That was kind of like the highlight of that. But other than that, actually Levine went off. That was impressive.
Yes. Yeah, oddly enough, like I remember saying it multiple times, like, yo, whoever's screaming at this game is starting to give me a headache. Like I was pissed. I was like, who keeps doing this? And then you see all the reports after that. It's DeMar DeRozan's daughter. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's like, he's trying to jeer him on. But yeah, it was good to see Levine finally show up in a meaningful game. 38, I think he dropped off of like 50% shooting. Got to the line a lot more too. And that was the old Levine before, that was the pre-ACL injury Levine. Like get to the cup, get fouls, and then it's going to open up your jump shots because he's more of like a streaky shooter like J.R. Smith used to be, where if he's getting to the lane, if he's getting to the free throw line, he gets into a rhythm, then he starts to beat you from the outside. So it was good to see that he started off the right foot. I would take it dropping that 39 for him.
I would say, funny enough, the two losers of the Eastern Conference play-in teams, they probably are two teams that need to blow it up in the offseason. Toronto should have been way better. They obviously don't care to listen to Nick Nurse anymore. His voice has gone to shit in the locker room. They have a ton of talent. They just couldn't put it together this year. And then the Bulls, another team that had high hopes. They were a 1 seed at one point on the Eastern Conference side last year, like All-Star break. Both those teams, they need to blow it up, rebuild, figure themselves out. Western side, I think you touched on T-Wolves, Lakers. It was pretty easily a rout for the Lakers. It wasn't. I don't remember it being that competitive. Again, felt like it was years ago, but I don't remember it being competitive there.
Controlled game, essentially. It essentially. I think they even went to overtime because of a fumble foul by AD in the corner on Mike
Right.
Conley. Like they controlled that whole game, and like they lost it at the end. Not lost, but they essentially lost the lead at the end because of just stupidity. But like they controlled the overtime as well. So like I wasn't too worried about that one.
And then just on the other side, Thunder just happy that they won a game, get some experience. They're happy to be there. I'm sure Presti's happy they have a lottery pick now, right? So they're gonna hopefully get a high, get lucky in the lottery. Pels just another disappointing year. Will Zion ever get right? Will this team get together? It's been, I think, 3 years of the Zion BI experiment, and they finished with 2 9 seeds, play-ins. One time they got in, one time they're out, and then not in the playoffs. So I don't know.
I'm getting nervous of Zion. I'm getting real nervous and real Greg Oden vibes. Reason being is even it might even be worse. Greg Oden kind of played. Zion is tipping that scale, no pun intended, with like flirting with what Ben Simmons was issues with. Like, I want to get on the court when I feel like myself, and it's like, wait a minute now, like we put you number one pick. We gonna pay a lot of money to you, a lot of sponsors. We've been talking about you for the last 10 years since you were in middle school, and now you're saying you can't get right because of mental problems. Like that is huge. You know what I'm saying? So like I hope that this doesn't turn into a Ben Simmons situation. Like I want the kid to play, but you said it yourself, Trudeau, man. This is going to be year 4 of the Zion experience starting next season, and we don't even know if he's going to start next season.
Yeah, you cut out for me. I think I cut out a little bit, but you were saying Zion, something mental. I think his statement about not feeling like Zion was more of like, I'm not in basketball shape right now, and I can't come back and be myself. So we'll see how it goes. I didn't want to spend too much time in the play-ins. It feels like it was a year ago at this point. Let's get to the meat of the podcast today. The NBA panic meter, right?
Ooh, you going straight to the meter, huh? We weren't even going to do round ones, just meter. Okay, I like it.
We can. Well, here's the thing. I feel like there are going to be 5 teams. I don't want to tell what teams are going to be just now. There are going to be 5 teams we talk about. We could talk about the series that they're in, but the teams we're not going to talk about, or the series we're not going to talk about, Celtics, Hawks. The Celtics should maybe gentlemen sweep at worst. The T-Wolves, Nuggets, that one is again not very interesting.
Snooze fest. They put those games on last on for every docket. That will be the 10 o'clock game.
Yeah, and I'm missing one more. Actually that we're covering. I'm missing one more series. You can fill me in. It's that much of a snoozer.
I think the rest of them are going to be close because the Bucks Heat involves injuries. The Clippers Suns are going to be a close one. There's really not a snooze fest besides just that controlled Celtics Hawks.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing a series somewhere in there. I wish I could remember what series it is. Oh, it was Philadelphia and the Brooklyn Nets. We didn't want to talk about, but
Nets are winning right now.
Dude, it's almost halftime and the Sixers have 39 points. That's insane.
Nets are going to be a scrappy team. That's what that's going to be. I know you don't want to dig too much into it, but that's going to be a scrappy series, whether it goes 6 or 7.
No, we can stop on that really quick. It's the Nets are a team, and I've watched them a little bit this year. They're not good, but they'll beat anyone on a random day. Like their highs are really high. Their average is kind of mediocre, but they can put up some buckets. If Mikal Bridges, I think he had 20, 30 a half, like he had 25 a half. His second half was pretty mediocre. But that dude can put up buckets.
Yeah, they slow off the rip in this one too. The thing is, the Nets are one of those teams that I think you kind of pointed up to it. They have a high ceiling, but they have a really low floor. Also, if they just shit the bed, there's no number one star for them. So on a given night, you can't really scheme when there's no star. You just like, oh, we'll just try to shut down anyone. But like Dorian Finney-Smith can go off if he wanted to. Obviously, I think Cam Johnson is the other one that can also go off. And then, like we had talked about with Bridges, out of nowhere, he was the most consistent scorer on the team since the trade. So, that team is a good team, and the Nets were a good team, a very fun team before the whole KD and Kyrie experiment happened. We all talked about them being, hey, they're a scrappy 7th to 8th seed in the East, and they're just continuing that right now.
I would be more enthusiastic about their future if they didn't have the Ben Simmons contract. I don't know when the
Yeah.
contract's up, but they're going to have to tag assets to get rid of Ben Simmons at this point. He's
It's
a
going to
negative
be treated
asset.
just like Westbrook. Literally, in order to get rid of him, you have to attach draft picks to him.
I mean, luckily for the Nets, your timeline's not in the next 2 years, probably. You're probably thinking 2025, 26 season, you want to compete. So by that point in time, I think the contract's up. All right. That's enough talk on the uninteresting series. We think that 76ers should handle business. Even if they lose tonight, they should handle business. Celtics should handle business. Nuggets should handle business, and rightfully so. So let's talk about the 5 series that actually ended with the underdog winning that game. And strangely, I want to start with this one. Strangely enough, this team was the quote unquote underdog, but that they're the higher seed. And you might know what I'm alluding to here. Golden State Warriors versus the Sacramento Kings. They lit the beam in Sacktown. First playoff game, and God only knows, something like 20 years.
2006.
Okay, almost 20 years. They get a big win in Golden State or against Golden State, 3-point win. Your level of panic. Let's see. Oh wow, I'm coming right off the top.
Absolutely.
So we have 4 sounders, right? We have a alarm clock, which is not very panicking. You know, you can snooze that sucker. Car alarm. You know, sometimes there's like shit that falls in your car, goes through the alarm, goes
You
off.
look out the window.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
look
kind of
out
alarm
the-
it is. What's that?
right. You just look. You have like a legit siren, like a storm's coming. You know, you got to duck and get cover. And then if for all those Modern Warfare players out there, when you hear the tactical nuke sound, you know shit is real. So your level of panic, Darian's level of panic on the Golden State Warriors was
Go ahead, sound.
DEFCON 5, man. That's nuclear.
Yeah. So this game is really scary. You got 30 from Steph, you got 20 from Clay, you got a pool that didn't really show up as much as we wanted them to, but we had Wiggins 17 off the bench, and you lost. I know that they struggled on the road the entire season, and we said it. The not road Warriors, unfortunately, they're quite the opposite. But the Kings, with I think Domantas Sabonis not playing his best, found a way to have their best player in De'Aaron Fox go off for 40 or 38. But he went off for damn near 40, and Malik Monk was right behind him off the bench. Like, that's just a team that I thought that they wouldn't know how to handle the defending champs. And like, we're just gonna keep running down the court and outscoring you guys. Like that's how we're gonna handle it. Is our speed, our athleticism is just going to run you guys out the gym. Now, granted, I know Fox even went on media, his presser, and said that whatever the hell they joked about Steph Curry, like I hate it. Like it's the truth. Like I can't stand covering that motherfucker. But he still went out and dropped 40. So like as exhausted as he was covering Steph, he still put up 40 because he's got the youth on him right now.
all right. I have a completely different panic meter than you. I'm going to play my level of panic on this, and then I'll explain why you're wrong. I'm just peeking out the window. I'm not too concerned. That's the car alarm going off right now. Here's what's going on. They lost by 3 on the road, right? We all know Golden State has their struggles on the road. Wiggins is coming back. He's still a little rusty. He played well. Fox, 38 points. Malik Monk, 32 points. 80 points between the two of those. That ain't happening again. Maybe Fox plays around with 38. You ain't getting 32 points out of Malik Monk. I actually watched a good portion of that game. What worries me for Sacramento is Golden State looked very, very good. They may have lost that game. They were clicking. They looked like a championship team. And the one thing that really worries me is that the Sacramento Kings really rely on Sabonis. They need Sabonis to play well. You know what type of defense they gave Sabonis?
Box and one.
They gave him the Russell Westbrook treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And they sat Kevon Looney at the restricted line. And guess what? Sabonis was like, oh, shit. They know. He refused to shoot even a elbow jumper.
Saw it.
I think the game plan's going to work. Golden State, Steph Curry had a chance to tie that up on the road. I wouldn't be surprised if Golden State won the next 4. Like I'm a believer of Sacktown.
Whoa!
I think they still win another game. I'm guessing Golden State wins tonight because their panic meter as of right now is they need to win this one. They don't want to go down 2-0. But for as far as the series is concerned, I'm not really concerned about the Warriors.
So let me get this straight. You just said the Warriors panic meter is must win. You said that they stopped Sabonis, but Monk and Fox won't go off for 70 again. You said the Warriors looked like a championship team and they still lost. Like, think about all of those things that you just set up for them to still lose. I get that Curry had the shot at the buzzer to tie, to send it to overtime, but you just set the table with all of these things that were in the Warriors' favor,
I'm saying
and
this.
they lost.
Steph Curry, 30 points. He can do that in his sleep, right? Klay Thompson got 21. That's math for him. That's fine. Everyone else was pretty pedestrian. The guys in Sacramento had the game of their lives, and they only won by 3.
See, this is the hate that they've been receiving the entire season. Is you're downplaying that team, the highest efficiency offense. I think this is a Trudeau stat too. They were in line for being the best offense in the history of the NBA. At one point in the season, they were on pace to be the best offense in the history of the NBA. And the Warriors usually pride themselves on winning championships on defense. They ain't winning championships or winning games if they're giving up 120 points. Like that's just not going to happen.
That's fine. Like that's how Sacramento plays. They're going to push the pace and take quick early shots. The amount of points isn't just I score in every possession. It's that we take so many quick shots that we're increasing the possessions for everyone. And we all know, like from his history, I don't know why I said history is so weird.
His story.
Yeah, I got caught up in a thought. We all know from history, you need to play good defense to advance in the playoffs. And Golden State, yeah, they gave 126 points. That's not great. Sacramento was ranked like 25 in defense for the season. They're not any better in the playoffs. I can't see Malik Monk having that sort of game again. And outside of Fox, I don't think Sabonis can do Sabonis things in the series just because of the way they're going to defend him. I feel like we're looking at Warriors in 6. That's going to be the outcome of this series.
Again, I didn't say that I was taking the Kings. You asked for a panic meter, and I mean, you even said it yourself that this is a must win for them tonight. But, so I want to preface this by saying I'm not saying that the Kings are going to win the series. I'm saying that for the young team to take on the old dogs, and they actually ran them out the gym. They got the win that they needed to get. Essentially, now the pressure is all on Golden State. So, like, yes, I think they are at a all-time high with if they lose this game, all Sacramento has to do is win 1 on the road. That's it. And now they're all of a sudden down 3-1. Like that's a big problem for Golden State.
I guess maybe we approach it differently because when I thought panic, I meant for like the whole are you panicked you might lose the series? But like, yeah, there is a sense of urgency to win tonight, and I'm guessing they will. I might sound like a fool when you listen on podcasts when they get their ass kicked tonight, but for as far as the series is concerned, I think they're still going to be in the driver's seat, and I'm not too concerned about from start to finish. All right, let's go to a different series. I'm trying to find let's find one that I think we both agree on. The game from yesterday, right? Yeah, the game from Sunday. The 8 seed Miami Heat upsetting the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee, a team that everyone had pegged to win the championship. I'll just say it right off the bat. Both of us have the same level of panic for the Milwaukee Bucks. Hit that snooze button. We'll wake up in another 15 minutes. I'm not worried about getting out of bed right now. Both of us were pretty low panic on the Bucks, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I know that he magically put up 130 like that. I don't think that's gonna happen again. I think if the Bucks can prepare without Giannis, or they can go into the game with Giannis, it's gonna be a flip of the I would say flip of the cake compared to what happened on Sunday.
Cake, you mean?
Yeah, man. Like, no, flip of the cake. Like, you got to frost both sides. You got to flip the cake and frost both sides, bro. Trust me, I was warming up for that one. But I think a bigger factor for that Heat Bucks series is Hero broke his hand. Like that is
Yeah,
huge. That's essentially your second offense if it's Jimmy Butler
it
first,
is.
and you're not saying that it's Bam. You know what I mean? Like he's the second option on that team. And I think the Bucks can go further like they had in the regular season without Giannis. They went on a win streak without him. Then I think the Heat can without a Hero. And not to say that Hero is a better player than Giannis. I just think there's more of a drop in secondary playmaking, secondary ball handling, secondary scoring with the loss of Hero than what drops with the Bucks because they still have talent.
Well, I know Shams reported today that the Bucks were quote optimistic about Giannis's availability on. I think they play Wednesday now, so it's Monday.
Very helpful for them that they
They're
don't play.
optimistic. If they're already saying optimistic on a Monday, it makes me feel like he will probably suit up on Wednesday. Granted, he's not going to probably feel great. I'm guessing they'll give him some painkillers and they'll be working on him for 2 days straight. It helps him also that they're playing at home,
He
so it's
doesn't have to travel.
yeah, an extra day of recovery. And then obviously with Hero, you nailed it with Hero. He is their second best scorer outside of Butler, and that team is they put up 130, which is incredible. That team's just molasses on offense, and if it gets stuck in the mud again, in game 2, they don't have Hero. It's gonna all come on Jimmy Butler. I'm looking at the box score right now. Butler had to play 43 minutes out of a 48-minute game, which is insane.
We've seen this before, though.
I will say this. I think Panic Meter is like a DEFCON 1, which like I'm not worried at all. But I get the heebie-jeebies when it comes to the Heat. And I think everyone has that feeling with the Heat just because like they've been there before. Jimmy Butler is an absolute animal in the playoffs. If Giannis comes back, I don't think this team should be worried, right? They could easily win next 4 in a row. But just knowing that Butler's there and he wants it, I don't know. It gives me like the creeps a little bit.
Butler's a dog, man. Like playoff Jimmy is a different breed. We don't have too many of them in the NBA where he is going to play 43 out of 48 minutes. And then on the next game, he's going to do the exact same thing. He's not going to come out unless he has to. But I just, like you said, putting so much pressure on him. He still had his team full health wise when they went to the finals a couple of years ago. Granted it was the bubble, but like he still got them there. It's a lot right now. It is a steep hill going up against the Bucks, essentially without your right hand man and a secondary scorer and Hero. Bam is a shadow of himself. I know he granted 22 in game 1, but like I don't think that's the norm. I think that's an anomaly for him compared to what he's been like the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I was trying to look up his recent games because I think since like the All-Star break or since December, he's been pretty terrible. I was surprised to see him have such a good game on Sunday, but so like prior to Sunday's game, his points total did he play? Oh, he's played 8 minutes in that game. So we'll omit that game. 14, 18, 9, 21, 16, 15, shooting about 40%. So
he's at 40 just off rip.
He's been bad. If he reverts back, I don't think he's gonna play like that all 7 games. If it goes 7, right? If he reverts back to himself, Butler, I don't care how good Butler is, he can't carry that dog shit squad the rest of the way, right? And they're gonna have to play guys like Duncan Robinson now, who will be targeted like crazy defensively, and he's not the elite shooter he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. They have a very weird dynamic in Miami. We said it that like you just don't want to play these guys, and because like all it takes is one thing to happen, and that thing happened. Giannis got hurt, but again, if Giannis comes back at 90%, I think if he comes back at 70%, I think that they'll be fine.
If he doesn't play game 2, I'm gonna start to sweat a little.
Scratch your head, yeah.
Although to be fair, even when Giannis went out, he only played 11 minutes. They brought it back to being a tied game without Giannis in like the third quarter. It was a 13-point like differential to end the game, but that blowout kind of only came towards the end of the game. Like it was still pretty close most throughout the game. Middleton did his thing. You have anything else in that game?
No, like I said, it's I won't say it's not the snooze fest. The only concern is just if Giannis doesn't come back, If he's on the floor, Bucks take it. If he's not on the floor, that's when that little alarm hitting the snooze button. You sit up and you look out the window and you're like, hey, what was that noise? So I think that would be the only scary thing if Giannis doesn't play on Wednesday.
I don't know where there's 3 games left we want to touch on. Three teams. I feel like I don't really love talking about this one, but I'll play it now just so we can get out of the way. Maybe we'll go through it quick. Another team that was favored at home. They actually had a decent favoriting as far as the whole series is concerned. First time back in the playoffs without LeBron James. Cleveland Cavaliers. Very excited to be home. The Knicks, we're not sure about Julius Randle, but they come in. Randle just comes on with a terrible game. The Knicks take this one. Bing bong. Everyone's happy. I'm trying to think. This is your panic meter in this one. All right, so you're not super concerned, but you're giving it a peek, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm looking out the window because I think the team in New York is forming in the area of playing as a full team. If Randall stays in the All-Star Randall that he was, I think at the beginning of the season, kind of tailed off post All-Star weekend. And then Jalen Brunson does what Jalen Brunson has been doing. The point guard is the head of the snake. I don't want to get that confused with how LeBron James called John Morant. I don't know if you saw that clip, but I think it's hilarious. Essentially, Jalen Brunson showed why he's a 1A type of point guard for a team in the playoffs. And that's momentum, right? They did what they needed to do. They got the job done on the road. All you have to do is take one, and then you essentially win both in New York, and all of a sudden you're up 3-1. So I would say it's kind of nerve-wracking. But Donovan Mitchell is proving that he is essentially, yeah, man, he is. I said it during the game. He's like a Dwayne Wade reincarnated, just minus the blocking. Dwayne Wade was really good
defender.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell will stay in your way, but he's not using his athleticism to block you. Dwayne Wade had the most blocks as a shooting guard in the history of the league. But he's doing Dwayne Wade-esque things where it's look, I'm 6 foot, get on my back, and I'm gonna carry this team as much as I can. And he went off of 38. So it's not, I can't say that they lost because of him. You know what I mean? And it wasn't it was an inefficient 38. Is 14 out of 30 for a 6 foot guard. I think that's pretty self-sufficient.
I feel a little differently. I'm a little more worried if I'm the Cavs because this series was going to be super competitive regardless, right? It was going to be probably the closest first round series in the Eastern Conference at least. And to lose your first game at home, it's going to put you in the hole. And then secondarily to that, I think we may have overestimated how good that Cavs starting lineup is, because we talked about this matchup before this week, right? We both said, well, we like the Cavs starting 4-5 better than the Knicks, but we like the Knicks' depth coming off the bench with Hart and Quigley. I'm looking at some of these performances by the Cavs. Obviously, Mitchell was the best player, will be the best player in the series. Garland, 17 points, didn't really show up. Allen, 14. He had 14 boards, so he was fine. But then the other guys, Mobley, everyone's favorite rising superstar, was a shell. 8 points, 11 boards, and then Okoro 6 points. And then we know that their bench is not going to...
They got absolutely nothing off the bench.
Yeah. So my level of panic's a little higher because you need to... if the series is supposed to be this close, you need to show up at least at home. And if they fall into a hole and their guys are going to be a little rusty for the first couple games with the playoff jitters, if they lose their next game, it might be over for the Cavs already, just because of how good these teams are, competitive as far as their talent levels. I'm super worried if I'm the Cavs, because I could easily see them putting up a dud next game, and then could be it. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tahi hit it on this one. I think this is a series that can go 7, 6 or 7. I think the Cavs get it back game 2. First series jitters, you might call it. I know that Mitchell has the experience, especially with being out in Utah, but some of these other guys, Mobley, Okoro, Garland, and Allen wasn't really a playoff bound player when he was in Brooklyn. So those are the guys that they're going up against a team that Jalen Brunson is like essentially like the guy that's leading the Knicks right now. So I feel like if they get where they're supposed to be, they get something off the bench because essentially like the bench is supposed to perform better at home. If they don't, then yes, the meter will go from like a car alarm to, I mean, excuse me, the alarm clock to the car alarm. Like, oh, yo, hey, what's out there? Because usually the bench doesn't perform well on the road, and now they'll have back-to-back games in the Mecca in which they have the opportunity to, yeah, this is essentially it. They'll have an opportunity to not close the series, but essentially put it in a stranglehold with back-to-back games at the Mecca.
Yeah, you know what's another thing I just noticed about this game? I didn't watch it too closely. Do you think the Knicks are regretting this RJ Barrett contract already? They should have regretted it the minute they signed it. 7 points, 2 for 12 shooting. In their first. Granted, they won, but man, Barrett is just such an inefficient volume shooter, and they're paying him. I don't know what it is. I think it's close to max, if not max, extension for the rookie deal. They have to be regretting that a little bit.
I think he's a player that's a future trade for a slot. I don't think it's a long-term commitment with him. I think part of his contract is to sign him to match contracts of other players that will help benefit your team in the future. So I don't see this is like an NBA 2K play for him where it's you sign him for the bread, you try to get as much out of him as you can, you showcase his talent, and then you trade him away in the offseason where that extension doesn't really hurt you. So I don't think that they're saying that they disregard, like they missed on that extension, because if you get all-star player out of him, not even all-star player, if you get like reserve all-star caliber player out of him, it's a win. And then if you don't, you trade away that contract. I don't think that's going to be a hard one to get rid of.
This game was really the Josh Hart game. I'm just going to say it right now, because you got the same production pretty much from Brunson and Randall than you got from Garland and Mitchell. Granted, Mitchell had a little bit more than Brunson, but the big difference here, Josh Hart, 17 points off the bench, 10 rebounds. Compare that to the bench of the Cavs, man. That dude was a difference maker in this game.
We said it. We said that the Josh Hart signing was low key one of the best signings in the offseason. Sorry, in the trade deadline. When they picked him up, when they got him onto the team, they went on a serious run. Oops, sorry, I hit my mic. They went on a serious run where like he was the most productive player off the bench in the league, and he brings championship mentality. He brings the experience of based off of where he's been literally in the league. He has the ability to pull the team just based off of what Tibbs wants him to run. Like he is a run and gun 3-and-D point guard, but he plays the 1 through 4. He'll match up against literally anybody on the court, and he'll run through a wall for his team. So I think that's the veteran that you want leading somebody like a Brunson, Randall, and supposed to be JR.
And that's going to be a rock fight.
RJ. I said JR. RJ Barrett. My bad.
Think about JR. Bad JR.
I keep saying Smith, so I said Smith earlier. I made one reference to JR Smith.
It's all good. Yeah, it's gonna be a rock fight. Probably going 7. Next game is on Tuesday. Cleveland's favored by 5.5. I would assume they have some urgency. Their panic meter is high for the next game, so we'll see how that turns out. Next game, do you want your boys, the Lake Show? Let's go with the Lake Show.
Yeah.
They took care of business against the Grizzlies. It is an upset in the fact that it was a 2-7. I think the series odds were -130, favored the Grizzlies. So they weren't huge favorites coming into this series. People had a lot of disrespect for them, and I guess rightfully so. Lakers went in there. To be fair, I don't know what the final score was. I have to look it up right now, but they won by a decent margin. I don't think it got blown out until like the very end.
3 minutes. It's like 3 minutes left in the game.
It was a close game for the most part. The score doesn't reflect that. Your level of panic on the Memphis Grizzlies was tie.
So you got this.
Oh,
so I'm not going full DEFCON. I'm not ready to full panic meter that. But like this is like, hey man, we got to get it. We got to get out. Somebody's got to mention an injury, right? Yeah, of course. What I will say is the only reason why the panic meter for me for the Grizzlies is so high is because of Ja's injury. Now I know it's a hand, but it's a shooting hand, and essentially, if he's already an okay but not efficient 3-point shooter, if you can take away his drive, you will make him very one dimensional. And the defense for the Lakers, which they have been really good, essentially, they one of the best defenses in the league, is now being matched with their efficient offense. LeBron got surrounded by some shooters. He got surrounded by some guys that are ready to throw up shots. Austin Reeves, AR-15, is one of them. And I'm not even ready to just give that man his flowers yet, but I'm just saying like that the Grizzlies are going to be in some trouble if they lose this game on Wednesday.
I have mixed feelings about this one for me. I have them at this panic meter, but I'm kind of wavering. This is where I have the Grizzlies right now.
Ooh.
That's a nuclear bomb, baby. DEFCON 5 for the Grizzlies. And here's why I have the Grizzlies at a DEFCON 5.
I'm not going to lie. You surprised me with this one.
The Lakers, you love the Lakers. That's your squad. One of the best teams since the trade deadline. Best defense in the league since the trade deadline. Hottest team coming into the playoffs. Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, John Moran gets hurt. The hand's hurt. I'm listening to a podcast today. I'm listening to the Hoop Collective, and someone was in the locker room after, doing interviews, and they saw Ja there, and he noticed that he's a righty. He was doing everything with his left. He went to go get some socks. He had to hand socks to a security guy to undo the. You roll up your socks.
Mhm.
Had to hand the socks to get them unrolled. Wouldn't move his hand at all. Then after the game, his morale is real downtrodden. He made it sound like he's probably not coming back. So if Ja is not coming back, which it seems like he's going to miss a couple games at the very least, my panic is at a all-time high because they were already up against it coming to the series.
Healthy.
They needed to win some of these games at home. They already lost the first one. Lakers are just on a tear. And also like just looking at how the Lakers got it done, it was everyone, man. Like, everyone played well. Even freaking
Rui, baby. Rui with 29. Rui Hachimura.
He'll never do that again. Rui Hachimura. But
hey, we don't need him to go ahead.
Rui game. But I'm just gonna say it's like it wasn't one guy carrying the whole team. It was impressive win by the Lakers. I will say this though. This is the one thing why I thought maybe I should tone down the panic meter a little bit. Did you watch the game? I assume yes.
Yes.
LeBron James only played 34 minutes out of 48, which is 34 is good. It's not like overly taxing. That man was gassed at the end of game one playing 34 minutes. And if you're the Grizzlies, you have a chance if you can extend the series to 7 or 6. Play fast, play up pace, make those Lakers run. Make LeBron and AD run up and down the court. Use your youth, use your athleticism, wear them down, and maybe win in 6 or 7 if Ja comes back. But like, if you let the Lakers strike now and take you down early, it's over, man.
Yeah, and I like essentially what you're saying with that because it's true. He's 38 years old, so like, yeah, he's going to essentially Father Time does wind you down. And something that I did hear earlier, and yes, big shout outs to Zay on this one. Definitely one of the guys that I had mentioned off air that said Rui scored a quiet 29. I was like, you don't quietly score 29, man. Like, that's not possible.
5 of 6 from 3. That's insane for Rui.
Well, I mean, is he expected to do that again? I don't believe so.
Life.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have the best game of his career back-to-back games. But for Windy, I think might have said that this was the first time in a 20-year career LeBron James did not have to be LeBron James and his team won in the playoffs. That I think is, I won't say scary, but it goes to show you, like, look, I understand. I'm a Laker fan. I am a team purple and gold. I get that, but just look at what's happening. And LeBron was able to take a back seat to AD, who's proving he can be top dog offensively and defensively in the NBA. You have your secondary player, which is either Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell.
Excuse me.
Jokes or not, Austin Reeves is showing he is this guy right now. And like he might be on that Tyler Hero thing, but Tyler Hero helped lead his team to the finals because of it. So like he's doing what he needs to do to get his team advancing. And then you have Rui off the bench. So like they're clicking at an all-time high right now. And I told you, just don't let this team get hot. And they're getting hot at the right time. And they caught a little bit of a break with Ja Morant. I don't wish anything injury-wise on another man, but that injury is huge to that team.
I think you have it wrong. LeBron James doesn't have to be LeBron James because it's not his team no more. It's Austin Reeves' team, baby. Let that man cook. Let him cook.
Man, he's in the kitchen, baby. He is in the kitchen.
All right, last matchup, game last night. Clippers, Phoenix Suns, everyone's favorite to make it to the finals in the West, Phoenix Suns. Big home favorite against the Clippers without Paul George. Managed to pull off the Clippers managed to pull off a win against the Phoenix Suns. Darian, your level of panic was? Pretty high.
Yeah, right before DEFCON, and reason being, and I'll let you get to your point, Kawhi. Now, Kawhi is scary. The same way that we don't want to see playoff Jimmy, we don't want to see playoff Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard is a 3-time NBA champion. He is a Finals MVP, and he's a defensive menace. We saw him put up 38. I don't remember the last time he put up damn near 40 in a game, regular season or playoffs. And not only that, he took the matchup. He said, I'm going to cover Kevin Durant. Durant was okay. You know what I'm saying? He still put up his buckets. I think he put up 27. But
they didn't feed him the ball really that much.
That was my point.
Weird.
Yeah, the fourth quarter in crunch time, Kawhi was like, I'm gonna take KD. And KD became like passive Kevin Durant, which
they didn't give him the ball. They didn't like draw anything up for him though. I think that's more
no. Do not blame coaching when it comes to one of, if not the best player on the planet, not getting the rock. Kevin Durant.
Who has the ball? Who has the ball? That
go get it.
Chris Paul.
I don't care. Go get the ball. I don't care if you got Booker. I don't care if you got Chris Paul. I'm Kevin fucking Durant. Go get the ball and you be that player. You don't shy away from it, especially in crunch time when your team needs it. Miss me with its coaching. That's a player problem. That's not a coaching thing.
Are you all worried about 3 of 19?
What are you talking about? So we're talking from 3?
Westbrook. He got 36 minutes in the game, went 3 for 19 for 9 points. I will say, in his defense, he did seal the game. Yes. So he won them the game, but he also made terrible decisions throughout the game to put them in that spot.
Well, think of it this way. He probably can't play worse than that moving forward.
That's fair.
It's still almost, I mean, granted, I know his triple-doubles are back-end triple-doubles, so like I hate that he does almost get them per game, but I mean, I don't see him going 3 for 19 again. I think they'll, and majority of them was like to the cup too. Like it wasn't even just he was settling for jump shots. He was trying to make, plays at the bucket. So I just don't see him doing that again.
So my panic meter is this, and it's for a different reason. I'm pretty alarmed, and that's not to say I don't think that they'll win the series, right? Because I think obviously, you have Kawhi on one side, but as far as the superstar talent, you have 2 superstar scorers in Durant and Booker, a Hall of Fame point guard, right? The point guard. Ayton's a fantastic player himself. So they could easily come back and win the series just because of pure talent. Here's where I'm like, this is why I'm 55 minutes, 10 points. That was the bench contributions for the Suns. And we talked about this all season, man. Since they made that trade, they have no depth. And it's weird because they went 11 people deep. 11 in the playoffs. No one does that. You go 8 deep, maybe 9, right?
And granted, lot of foul trouble early for that team. Lot of foul trouble early for the Suns.
Here's the thing too. If you look at the minute distribution, right, the one guy they went deep on the bench, Landry Shamet at 24 points. Everybody else 7 minutes, 5, 8, 4. You know what that tells me? They have zero faith in any of those guys on the bench. They're just like plugging and playing, and they're hoping like maybe this guy catches fire.
Get 2 minutes out of him and get him off the court.
I think that's going to be the ultimate downfall of the Phoenix Suns. Like the reason why I'm panicked is, could they win the series? Absolutely, because they got Kevin Durant, right? If they advance, they're going to still have to play maybe the Denver Nuggets, another very good team. They're going to have to maybe play Golden State Warriors. Like that lack of depth eventually is going to catch up with them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Although to be fair, Kevin Durant could just carry them through, through the whole thing. But you don't usually see it. You have to have some help.
Yeah, but like that's where I get it. And Ty, I appreciate what you're saying. Like, it's not even an ego thing. Like, I really do believe that if you are a top dog, if you're supposed to be one of the best players in the history of the game, especially one of the best scorers, you can't let get down to the crunch time, 5 minutes left in the game, and you take one shot, because we would be flaming LeBron James if he did that. So let alone like Kevin Durant, who's a better scorer than LeBron James, essentially. I'm not going to give him a pass. I think that's unacceptable for his talent. And granted, I think you're in the same boat that I was with the Warriors Kings. I'm not saying the series is over. I just think that this is, you don't want to go down 0-2, because we've seen what Kawhi can do in the playoffs. It's scary. We've seen him carry the team, literally a bunch of, I won't say nobodies, but at the time they were a bunch of nobodies in Toronto, and he brought them to a championship. Granted, there was some injuries that helped along the way in the finals with Kevin Durant and Clay missing, but like, still a championship, is all that matters. And Kawhi has the mentality to bring a team there, especially if he's going off for 38.
I will say, if they advance, the Clippers, that is, and they can get Paul George back in the second round, that would be huge for them. So Kawhi just has to find a way to get through this one series. And the one thing about Kawhi is this: there's not a lot of people that you can place in a series against Kevin Durant and say that player is better than Kevin Durant. Kawhi consistently, I'm not going to say he's better than Kevin Durant, but he can have nights where he's absolutely better than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he can go blow for blow with them, and he plays better defense. That's the Achilles. I don't even want to use that because he tore his shit. But that's essentially like the kink in the armor for Kevin Durant is. I'm trying to think of all these euphemisms to use, but like Durant is going to be an offensive juggernaut. Kawhi can be an offensive juggernaut, but he can also be a defensive stopper, and Kevin Durant is not.
Yeah, that'll be a fun series. That's probably going 6 or 7. It's going to be a long one. I don't think it's going to be close anytime soon. All right, let's get into our next segment and win some mother effing money. By the way, do you feel like the show has gone smoother today?
Yeah, why? Are we going to tell us what we're doing something differently? Oh, your internet, or you got a new computer?
No White Claw today.
Oh, no. I didn't hear a crack of a beer. You're right. There was no crack of a beer.
It's strange. I'm not drinking, and I'm actually better at this. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought, man? Who would have thought?
Some goddamn money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling.
All right. I forget what our bet was we won last week. I know that for a fact. I think we went off Reeves 12 points, 1-3, and then AD with the 2010 game.
Yep, that's it. That was the bet.
So we're 2-3 on the season.
Yes, sir.
So I've actually been betting a little bit in the playoffs, and man, it's so hard to predict player props in the playoffs because teams decide to shut players down. It's like lock them down, on a given night, and they just don't hit numbers. So like, it's hard to translate the numbers someone gets from the regular season to the playoffs. You're giving me a look like that, but like, just like a Philly right now. I think Embiid has 10 points right now going into the fourth quarter. Who would have thought that against the Nets? But they've made a conscious effort to shut down Embiid, right? And
they purposely make Embiid, we're going to need you to not score in this game. You think that was part of the game plan?
That's a different segment. That's the truth though. My point is that it's like anyone but Embiid can eat tonight. Like when you get into a playoff series, team strategize.
Oh,
way
you mean the defense? Okay. I was like, what are you talking about? You
No,
think
no,
the
no.
you
I
think
mean,
the 76ers are like, hey man, Embiid, take the night off. Let's
No.
try to get hard in some buckets. I was like, what?
my point is defenses strategize
Yes,
differently
okay.
in the postseason than the regular season, so it's hard to pick player props. So we're going to go actually with just straight up games this week.
Mhm.
I'll get us started off, and I think there's a theme to our parlay. It's called the Panic Meter Parlay. We talked about a bunch of teams that are on the hot seat. They feel the panic. I'm going to go right off the bat. Milwaukee Bucks. We're not going to take money line. We want some more juice. We're going to buy a couple points. I think the spread right now is 9. We're going to go with -6 points Milwaukee Bucks for the
I like
first game. I will say this as a preface. We're going to pick a couple games. The Bucks are the last one sequentially. If you win the first 2 games and Giannis is ruled out for game 2, I'm cashing out the bet and taking whatever you get at that point. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, if you again, I think we said it off air for those that are listening, especially those that have been in the chat. Again, we appreciate y'all. But I got Ty, I got Zay Bell, I got Hip Hop. Any of y'all that want to contribute to throwing in what we should use as a parlay, let us know, and we'll see if we can try to add it into the parlay. But for you went with Buck, so I'm gonna go again a non-money line. Forgive me if I'm not using the
Are you
right.
going money line? Are you go? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the non-money line one. I'm gonna take the Suns. And the same thing that we talked about, the panic meter one. Give me 5 on the Suns, so that we can try to get them. They need this win. It needs to be a controlled win.
So you're saying you're gonna give 5 points to the favorites. I'm trying to see what they are. What's a line right now for the Suns? So they're playing Tuesday night. They're 7.5 point favorites. You're saying we'll buy a couple points. We'll go -5 instead.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just to cover our ass. Okay, so like we're picking 2 teams at home right off the bat that need to get a win to avoid going down 0-2. Our last leg, the same idea. Going Cleveland Cavaliers. We talked earlier, I think Ty even mentioned it, or someone mentioned in the chat. This is a must win. If they go down 2-0 to the Knicks, it's over. I'm not giving the points. I think it's a 4.5 point spread right now, or 5.5 point spread. I just want them to win. It's going to be a dogfight. I can't trust the Cavs to win by 6 points. Just to go money line, right? Just get the win. Just win, baby, as Al Davis used to say.
Just win, baby, win.
Yeah, I like people are giving us suggestions in the chat. I got Tahi, add me a leg. Okay, what do you got, Tahi? Throw us a suggestion in the chat, and we'll consider it. I'll maybe remove one of mine, and then I got JJJ with 2 blocks. Again, I don't fuck with player props. Postseason,
I
man.
mean, we did AR both AD. I
That
called the
was also
stat
regular
line.
season, though.
No, that was playing.
All right, that's fair.
Playing. I was like, AD needs to do 20 and 10 for them to win that game. They did, and AR needs to.
I do like that.
Which one?
Ty he under 106.5. The Heat offense is going to be absolutely dog shit.
They've just put up 130.
Yeah, that's never happened again their whole life. And then Zay Bell with the comment, bing bong. Madison Square Garden going to go nuts if it's 0-2 in favor of the Knicks. But we're going to go with right now the Bucks -6. I'll check that out, Tahi, and see if I can add that in if it's worth it. Bucks -6, Suns -5, Cavs money line. That brings us to +236, which means if you bet $10, you're going to get a return of $23 in profit. So not bad. It's Duncan Robinson over 30.
Not a chance.
Yeah. If you want to lose your money, bet with these guys. All right. That was the Frizz and the Grizz parlay. Let's hit this one, D. Get back to 500 for the season. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Talking don't matter. Ching, ching, bling, bling, patent pockets. Take the dollar, can a damn soul stop it. Here comes the new kid on the block.
All right. I did not change the board yet because we have 2 potential places to go. We probably have time for one more segment, I would guess. So do you want to go more NBA and talk about NBA awards, or do you want to go a little NFL, talk about guys getting the bag, and maybe, I don't know where else to go with that one, the draft?
I really don't want to do drafts. So I don't want to waste a whole segment on just Hurts. I mean, I think just do a quick one, just saying like I'm glad that he got paid, but like I don't want to go on full details into that. I'd rather go awards.
All right. And then guys, if you want to throw some money, Venmo us, we'll put the bet in. We'll all go together. I'll take the money from the guys in the chat, and then when we win, we'll keep the profits.
I mean, that's how it goes right now. In case you guys are wondering, we bet as a collective unit. I like to throw in my suggestions, such as the Lakers are going to do X, Y, and Z. AD is going to go 20 and 10. Austin Rivers is going to get his buckets. He's going to get his threes.
Austin Rivers.
Austin Reeves, sorry. And then I get nothing out of that. So we win, but I don't get a dime of that shit.
You joke.
All I do is I just get another opportunity to bet the next week. That's all.
You joke every week, but I'll tell you what, I have like 1,000 different betting accounts open.
I was waiting for you to say over $1,000. Like, yeah, I didn't see it. Look at that money yet.
we can designate, if you want, one of my accounts to the show. You could throw some money and we can just start at zero and just work our way from there. See where we go. Do you want to do that?
Create another email for me, and then then I can use that because they'll let you keep they'll just give you free money if you keep adding usernames.
With betting, they need your social security number, brother.
Oh, yeah, that goes to show you I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Uncle Sam wants his cut when you win.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, we'll talk offline about that. Maybe we can get a little something going. I don't like the bet MGM, so we can maybe use that one.
Mm-hmm.
DraftKings for life, and DraftKings, we're here. We don't have a sponsor yet, so
there you go.
Feel free to holler.
Pick us up, baby.
All right, NBA awards. Obviously, tonight we actually got an official award given out. Jaren Jackson Jr. Depoy. I will say this: if people are uninitiated, there's this guy who, for many years, puts together a spreadsheet. It's a Google Sheets, and he has people all around the country do research and try to find out. Like, let's say, D, you have a vote. You're a famous podcaster. You can vote for the NBA awards. After you submit your vote, you go on your podcast and say, man, I voted for so-and-so for MVP and so-and-so for sixth man. And this information gets aggregated. This guy puts it on a spreadsheet. They look, he has a team looking across thousands of podcasts, publication, so they can kind of piece together how these awards who's going to win. So I have this sheet in front of me. He did have Jaren Jackson Jr. winning the Depoy pretty heavily. So I don't know if you want to talk about Depoy, but we can circle there later. MVP, probably no surprise to you. Who do you think is the pretty heavy leader in MVP voting?
I think the league kind of got, I would say, over Jokic. So I think if they got over Jokic, that would escalate Embiid into the favorite for being MVP this year. I think he finally gets it. Yeah,
so I think they have 58% of the confirmed ballots, right? So they've got 58% of the votes based on like public information. And Embiid has a huge lead over both Giannis and Jokic. Giannis and Jokic actually pretty close for second place. Jokic right now with a slight lead. I think deserved. Like, I think he's going to, at this point, it seems a foregone conclusion. He's awesome down the stretch. Jokic kind of faded. Giannis is awesome, by the way. I just want to say that. Giannis is, if he could have won it, I wouldn't have been upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid had an absolutely incredible year. Shout out to him for what he did in the regular season and leading that team to being, I think, the 2 seed, right? Either 2 to 3, 3 seed. I think he's defining again the same thing that Jokic was able to do, which is like being a valuable player as a big, in which they were kind of getting rid of that position, and now they're, it's coming back where like you can be definitely meaningful as a center / power forward. So like, I give him his flowers. I think he finally deserves it. Last couple of seasons, he was definitely plaguing for it, saying that he should have been the MVP. So give it to him now, shut him up, and then see if you can try to win a ring. Because once you get that MVP, like then the next step is to win a championship. So like, we know that there are players that are like, I want to win an MVP because I want to add to my collection. That's Giannis, but he's got a ring to back it up. Now, Embiid, if you win this, you got to start escalating yourself to championship level, because we're going to do the same thing to Jokic, where it's like, yo, man, like, are you a player that can actually win a championship, or are you just the guy that's going to put up stats every year?
Yeah, I think so. Zay's making a point that the Philly roster is much better than Denver. I would actually say that Denver has gotten a much better roster this year. This is probably Jokic's best supporting cast. They have Michael Porter Jr. for a full season. Jamal Murray's been pretty good for them. I'd probably say top 50-ish, 40-ish level. Aaron Gordon was like a low-key potential all-star of the first half of the season. He's fallen off. And then if you look at Philly, Philly has names, right? Like obviously James Harden's a huge name. Still very, very good. He's not MVP James Harden. Tyrese Maxey, probably their third or second best player, depending on how Harden's feeling. And then also like Tobias Harris, that's just a name. Like Tobias Harris is not good. And then, just to go on the Embiid side, like in the past, Jokic has been the guy who has all the advanced numbers that support his case. As the season progressed, more of those advanced numbers have actually pivoted to support Embiid. And I think the biggest reason why Embiid's winning this over Jokic is, listen, I'm a Jokic guy. I put money on Jokic to win this thing. And down the stretch, the last month of the season, Jokic is just game after game going for it. And I watch Embiid in a game they want to win against the Rockets where he's playing. They lose to the damn Rockets by like 15 points. Like you can't lose to the Houston Rockets by 15 points and be the MVP. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying on that one, but again, it's not just a one game thing. I think it's what he's bringing, and like you were saying, I think the Nuggets have a better team, and the roster for the 76ers isn't as good, so Embiid is able to carry that team further with less talent than Jokic is. That he can just again do the same thing over and over. And if we're gonna do the same thing that we did to LeBron James, like LeBron James could have won 10 MVPs because he leads the statistical categories for his team every single year. And that's what Jokic is doing. But does Jokic, just because he's doing that, doesn't make him the most valuable player in the league compared to just the most valuable player on his team? You remove Embiid from the 76ers, they're not a 3 seed. You remove I would say Jokic from the Nuggets, they may not be a 1, but they're probably a 2 or 3. I don't think the 76ers are a 3 or a 4 or even a 5 seed without Embiid.
I would argue that Jokic means more to his team than Embiid does. I think that team, like the heart and soul of that team, when the numbers, the plus minus of like when Jokic is on court versus off court, it's insane with that team. I mean, to be fair, like the team was built around him being there, like everything's kind of designed around him. And then just to answer a question from the chat about Bones Highland getting booted. That was like a culture thing. Him and the organization did not see eye to eye. That was more of get the, I don't want to say cancer, but like get the bad juju out of the locker room sort of deal. Shout out Embiid. Congratulations. I know it hasn't been officially announced yet, but that's pretty much where this is going. Rookie of the year, Paulo basically ran away with this thing. Almost unanimous. Looks like one jackass voted for Walker. Seriously, right now the confirmed votes 26, first place for Paulo, 1 for Walker Kessler. Like, come on, you're really gonna be the guy that votes for Walker Kessler? Come on.
I mean, there was that one guy that didn't make Ken Griffey Jr. in unanimous. Remember that?
Who was the guy? Someone made Jeter not unanimous in Baseball Hall of Fame. One person didn't vote him for the Hall of Fame out of like 250. There's always one guy.
Baseball was corny, like just absolutely corny. And I think Mariano Rivera got it the next year. It's like
He's the GOAT.
No. Trust me. Don't take this as shade from me saying that he's not the best closer in the history of the game. But Ken Griffey Jr. was one of, if not the purest hitter in the history of the sport. And he didn't get a unanimous decision, but a closer did. Miss me with that, man. Come on. Some cornball was like, no, I don't like the way he swings left-handed. Let's not give him that vote. Like that's probably how he sounded when he cast. Here's my vote. Little cornball. Like,
a lot of
that's
those
just
guys,
terrible.
the baseball writers are kind of like petty, and if like you don't give them enough time in their interview, they'll remember it for 20 years and not vote you in the Hall of Fame. Another one, I don't think it takes too much time. Most improved player looks like it's pretty heavily going to go to Lauri Markkanen.
Nice.
good for him. He was kind of a castaway in the deal to Utah. Where was he? Was it Cavs before?
Chicago. He was in Chicago and then Cleveland.
Then Cleveland. All-star starter this year. Shout out to him. SGA was a second place getter, which I mean, he's like he took a huge leap. The most improved player to me, it's such a weird award because you go from like a B superstar to like an A superstar. Is that do you deserve the award, or should you go from like being average to great? Like where do you like have to have a leap from and to?
Yeah, it is a tough one to judge. I would have given the nod to SGA because of it, but I see what they're doing with it going to Laurie Marketing because, like, again, he was a castaway, not anything, and for him to do what he did in Utah was pretty admirable, obviously.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Super active today. Digging it. Y'all just having jokes amongst yourself. I like it. All right. So what a six-man was a tight race. People wanted to argue quickly. It was basically quickly or Brogdon down the stretch. I feel like there's a large enough sample size to probably call it. Right now, confirmed votes, I think they have 28% of the ballots confirmed. 104 total points for Brogdon and 73 total points for Quigley. So Brogdon's starting to pull away. Looking like the most improved the sixth man of the year, Brogdon. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
No, I mean, pre that information, I would have said Quickly, but like I can 100% agree with it being Brogdon also. Like I think he's been the leader off of that team essentially as the second unit. So that's good. And he's a Manu Ginobili. Like he comes off the bench, but he's not sitting the bench. You see what I'm saying? Like he's still playing minutes as a starter. Which is always a very strange award for me. But I mean, yeah, I think that's well deserved if he does get that, because I think he's been a huge benefactor to weathering the storm for what's happening up in Boston for them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a little Celtics bias in the chat, but I think Quigley deserved the love. I think it should have been that close, and the reason why is this. Brogdon was more of like a very calm, steady force. He's not super flashy. He gets the job done. He defends well. He gets to the bucket. He actually advanced numbers. I think he was the best reserve in the league as far as plus minus, like their actual impact. And he could run the second unit. But with him, he had JB, he has JT on that team. He's not going to look super flashy in comparison. Whereas you have Quigley, where that team sometimes struggles to, develop a really fluid offense. And Quigley would come in and just get you buckets and just go off and just get like a 2K. I don't know if they still have the microwave badge. Do they?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Okay, I haven't played in a while, but like he's like the microwave guy. Like he can come in and get hot quick and get some buckets. So I see why people would maybe go towards Quigley because he meant more offensively to that team. But I think Brogdon's probably the right choice, just because he's just such a steady force on one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, like I said, well deserved. I would have gone quickly before we had talked about it, but it makes sense it being Brogdon if he does take the award home.
I didn't mention Depoy because it's officially announced.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
It wasn't really close. Pretty runaway. A lot of people voted for Evan Mobley, actually.
I thought Lopez would have been second.
Lopez was second. So here's what I got. Confirmed ballots, 33%. 103 points for Jaren Jackson Jr., 62 for Brook Lopez, 54 for Mobley. So like Mobley and Lopez were pretty close 2-3 on that one. People just kind of got weird with Mobley just because advanced numbers and he can guard multiple positions and that sort of thing.
That was the same type of thing that happened with Jaren Jackson Jr. though. Like a lot of his stats were like, I get like he defended at the rim. He did his thing obviously throughout the season. So kudos to him for winning the award. But a lot of his stats were very like Tom Brady ESPN-esque. Like, oh, he gets 3 blocks when there's, less than 10 minutes in the game and there's, 4 people on the fast break. It's like, look, I don't care about that. Like, how many blocks does he get at the end of the season? That's all that matters to me.
I like how, I used to play 2K so much, like 2007, 2010. And so I have all the old badges like stored in my head. I love when I pull one out just out of my ass.
Pause. You can even say no pause for that. Sorry, the way that you set that one up. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Just terrible on my end.
I don't get the joke, but I'll give it to you. Last award, a unanimous award. Coach of the year was unanimous.
It's got to be Mike Brown.
Mike Brown receiving 27 of as far as the confirmed votes, 27 first place votes. No one else had a single first place vote.
Good. It had to be just what he did with that team out of nowhere, as to be expected. Nobody was penciling the Kings to be a top 2 seed to start the season. Not a chance. So I think that is a rightful win, essentially. Unlike sometimes when you give the team that's got the best record the coach of the year. No, this is a team that was not expected to be penciled in a top 3, top 4. I think when we did our off show recap at the end of last week, we looked at it and how bad some of us are. Neither one of us had the Kings in the top 5. So kudos to him being able to do what he did with that team.
I think he deserved it. I'm happy for them. Light the beam, man. Sacktown, what up? D, let's. I think that's it for the show, man. You got anything else before we get out here today?
Quick note on this one, just because Tahi mentioned it. The reason why I didn't want Joe Mazzulla to be talked about is because he took over a team that was already successful. If you're a 1 to 2 seed, which the Celtics were last year, and then the next year you're still a 1 or 2 seed, does that make you a coach of the year candidate? No, it just means you're a new coach in the same situation that they were. They were, 3 games away from. Did they lose 4-1 or 4-2 last year in the finals?
I think it was 6 games.
Whatever it was, they were a couple of games away from the final. So, as to be expected, him taking over and replacing Ime Udoka. No, I'm not hating. Just tell how it is. If Ime Udoka was there and they did the same thing, would you give him the award? No, he's just a new coach that did the same thing.
Fun for Ty, because Ty's appreciate you, Ty. Have a good night, buddy. Ty is, with the Celtics propaganda. Joe Mazzulla confirmed ballots 4th place, not even top 3.
Thank you for that one to end it.
It goes Mike Brown, 2nd place, Mark Daignault, and 3rd place JB Bickerstaff from the Cavs. I think Daignault's a little high, but
who is that?
He's the head coach of the Chet You Betcha Thunder.
Oh, Thunder. Okay, that's why I didn't know who it was.
I mean, they improved, but I mean,
yeah, you still got to have a winning record to win Coach of the Year. You can't be sub 500.
I hope we don't get sued for this one, but I feel like this is probably the best way to get out of here today because it was all basketball. D, I will start this and then we'll get out very shortly.
You got it, man. Hey, as we say every time we are heading out, are you playing it or you want me to do it? Not. I can hear it now. Okay. I couldn't hear it as I was going. As we say when we're heading out, please, y'all take care of y'all bread. Y'all take care of y'all chicken. Y'all take care of y'all Mentos. Please take care of y'all physicals. Please be safe out there. We appreciate y'all in the chat. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, everything that we got. Check out our website. Y'all be lovely out there. Peace.